You know, everybody who works for a living eventually wants to own their own business, but there are pitfalls and obstacles on the way sometimes to being an entrepreneur. We have two people here who can help you overcome those obstacles and get right to the point of your primary business. We have Lorraine Lumpkin, a familiar figure here on Sandy and Friends. She has brought along Cindy Ashton. Cindy is a presentation coach. She presents Your Persuasive Voice. Lorraine, thank you for bringing Cindy along. Tell us about what Cindy is doing tonight, a very special event.
Yes, we're having an event called Captivate to influence others and be more effective with your presence and with your skills as an entrepreneur. So we're having an event at the Hyatt at Gainey Ranch in Scottsdale. It's at 6 p.m. To 9 p.m. and there's an hour of networking at the beginning, an hour at the end, and a mid-hour of fun and frolic with her fabulousness, helping me. You'll see as we continue talking about what she's going to be sharing tonight.
Yeah. And Cindy, when I was back in high school 1,000 years ago,
yes.
there was a wonderful book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Fabulous book.
That was written by a definitely male point of view.
Yeah.
You are here to help especially female entrepreneurs. What are some of the special tips you can offer female entrepreneurs to be successful and stay on track?
That's a great one. The first one is how you show up in your presence. And I love to talk about body posture because a lot of us say, oh, you need to stand up and be straight. So there's 4 types of body postures you never, ever, ever want to do. And the first one is, oh, I need to be confident, so I need to sit up straight, stand up straight. Notice what happens to my speaking voice. All right, now I'm trying to have good posture, and now my voice is very loud and aggressive. Does this turn you on or off, DJ?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is what I call the pusher. The other one is the women who tend to slouch. And when you slouch, it cuts off some of your air and makes your voice a little bit more softer. And so I'm a little more meeker, and would you want to buy from me right now with this meek little voice? It doesn't really command confidence. The other one is what I call the chicken neck. So this is a person who's networking, and they stick their neck out, and they're like, hi, it's so great to meet you, Lorraine. It's great to meet you. You see, it's very obtrusive. The minute you're in somebody's energy space is the minute that you lose a sale or a deeper connection. And the last one applies more to men, but it's very important to talk about it. It is what I call the roaming pelvis. You see, men have way too much testosterone sometimes, and they go to these networking events, and their pelvises are like roaming out, and it's like, okay, dude, you gotta like step away from this pelvis. Like, it is in my space. So men need to be really careful of their body posture because they make people feel very uncomfortable with their roaming pelvises. So those are the 4 that you never wanna do. In terms of posture, how do you get into good posture without taking the tension in? So I have an activity that everybody's going to do, including our viewers, called cactus arms. We take a breath in, and we're going to drop our shoulders, and we just hold this, and you'll feel the tension and breathe into the tension. Do it for 30 seconds, and then relax. And then it just releases all the stress so that you have a naturally open chest, but you're not taking in the tension and you're not sounding aggressive.
You know, anybody who takes sales training learns right away, before you sell your product or your service, you have to sell yourself.
Right.
And so how long do you get to make that first impression?
3 seconds, the minute someone sees you.
You have to overcome it for a while if it's not a good one. Correct?
Oh, yeah.
So what are some of the tips that you're going to talk about to make your message stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of people tend to be very general and a little too woo-woo in their networking. So they might come up to me and say, hi, it's so great to meet you. Oh, Cindy, it's great to meet you. And I'm like, great, what do you do? And they'll say something like, well, I help you to declutter. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And so I know what declutter means, but what does that mean to me?
Sure.
And so I had a client that had that message a few years ago. We reworked it too. I help entrepreneurs with messy desks to organize their leads so they can follow up and get more sales. Now, do you see how that's really real world? It's specific. And I can tell you that majority of the people hearing that either have a messy desk in their office and they go, oh, that's me. Or they go, oh, my desk is clean, but my leads are all organized, but not that organized in a way to follow up. Or, all right, I've got no messy desk. I've got organized leads, but I'm having issues with the closing of the sale and following up. So just by changing that statement to being real world and specific, most people have those challenges, and then it stimulates a deeper conversation. Most of the time, people just have a generic message, or they go into their story. And entrepreneurs hate it when I say this, but I don't know you. I don't care about your story. So you really got to capture that attention in the first 10 to 20 seconds just to get the conversation started. And then you can go deeper and show your fabulousness.
And Lorraine, you've helped as the mindful business guru for so many different kinds of businesses. What first attracted you to Cindy?
Cindy actually had hosted an event in New York City, and
New
so
York.
it was a women's entrepreneur event, and so we were actually talking about that as we were, getting ready to come on air. So that's how we initially met.
And Cindy, some of the things that you advise entrepreneurs on is marketing for speakers, networking tips, sales advice, your speaking voice, storytelling and speech writing, and success principles. How important is it for someone who is in business for themselves the first time to capture all of this as soon as possible to make that great first impression?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I would say if you're just starting out, it could be really, really, really overwhelming. So the best advice I have is to go back to what we talked to earlier. Get really real world with what you do. The more woo-woo and generic you are, the less attention you're going to grab. So that's one of the first things. The second thing is that I tell people to learn how to de-stress. Because when you carry stress in your body, that directly influences your speaking voice and your presence and how you capture attention. So if you were to go into a business meeting, a sales conversation, a networking, or stand on stage, and you've got that mind going, okay, I'm new in business, I've got to close sales, I've got children to feed, I've got this and this and this, then all of a sudden you come across with a pushing energy, and people can subconsciously feel your energy. So a lot of what I work with as a speaking and presentation coach is how do you breathe into your body, relax into yourself, and allow people to be drawn into you as opposed to you pushing your energy on them.
And you mentioned overcoming obstacles. You got a real early start in overcoming obstacles in real life, didn't you?
I did. So since I was a fetus swimming in my mother's belly, I knew I was destined to be on stages and helping the world. But my body had different plans for me, and I was born with heart failure and a 20% chance of living. And the left side of my body was structurally damaged. So I had to wear casts on my legs to be able to walk and learn, and had to have speech therapy to learn how to speak, let alone be a performer and to do all the stuff I do. And because of all the heart surgeries and all the trauma my body had been through and all the cuttings of bones, tissues, and nerves, I was left in chronic pain. So when I talk about the pushing energy, because I was in chronic pain, I would come across, I had a lot of credentials, but I came across aggressively and I wasn't getting results. And this is why I do what I do, because I see so many entrepreneurs who are brilliant and taking all the right steps and not getting results because of their presentation style and the stress they're carrying in their body.
And on that note, Lorraine, tell us one more time when and where we can see you and Cindy this evening.
Yes, it's going to be at the Hyatt at Gainey Ranch in Scottsdale from 6 to 9 p.m.
That is Lorraine Lumpkin, business coach with advertising and media. Cindy Ashton, presentation coach, your persuasive voice. Stay tuned. We've got ERAU basketball coming up next on Sandy and Friends on AZTV. Stay tuned.